Hey, Honey Wash Day. This is Maggie Ross, and I am live from Porcupine, South Dakota. Toksa Hour has been airing since September 20th, I believe, 2020. So it's been a while. So this morning, we're going to talk about some of the things going on within the world. As you can see, I'm wearing my keffiyeh. And so we'll start off talking about that. Hmm. Mm. So I wanted to um, talk about quite a few things, not just Gaza. We'll talk about Gaza. We're going to talk about Israel. We're going to talk about Canada and the tariffs and Donald Trump, like all of these things and like how they're affecting us or how they're um, scaled or predicted to affect us and kind of what's going on around the world from a reservation perspective. This is the whole point of Doksha Hours to try to bring information to Native communities, and Doksha Hour, specifically looks to the Lakota and Dakota people, and we appreciate the many people throughout the world that watch. We have followers or subscribers from Great Britain and France and New Zealand and Iceland and even Venice. We have people that watch from Venice. So if you do have time, let us know where you're watching from. So Trump has come out and made a big statement about Gaza, right? Like his plan, Netanyahu came to visit, to meet with him and to talk about the path forward. And we know that Trump has released or rescinded the hold that the Biden administration had placed on weapons. So he has released that. So I think it's like $2 billion worth of weapons have been released to Israel. There's the ceasefire in Gaza, and that's still in place. However, Israel has directed its attention to the West Bank now, and so they are demolishing homes. They are attacking people, arresting people, unaliving or killing people in the West Bank. They also are trying to take land in Syria. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Syria. The new regime, it sounds like, is like fighting their own people. So the freedom that they were saying they were going to get from Assad doesn't look to be happening. And Lebanon. So in Lebanon, there's the ceasefire that's supposed to be in place between Israel and Lebanon is not withholding or withstanding. There's still some violence taking place there. So there's quite a bit going on just in trying to keep Israel accountable to its neighbors. This is a thing that in North Dakota, I don't know if you guys know this, but in North Dakota, the legislature up there had passed a resolution that said um, we are a Christian nation, and kind of taking us into Christian nationalism. So if we're a Christian nation, if we are living off the belief systems of Christianity, then we're supposed to be good neighbors, and we would be saying to Netanyahu, you need to be a good neighbor. And they would also be looking maybe to protect the Christians that are within the Middle East, but we're not. And so it's all just a ruse, right? It's a ruse that gives us the pretend assumption that we are about um, peace. We are about the Christian values. We are about those things. And so it's a ruse. They're not. They're not about that. They are about capitalism. They are about making white supremacy. They're about that. And they're using every tool to ensure that. You look in what's happening with with the inauguration and after of Trump. So Trump comes out and he says that America, United States owns Gaza now, or will own Gaza. And he's gonna force the Palestinians off of the Gaza Strip, and the people then will be displaced, or they would become refugees in what he says a much better place. So he is going to force them into Egypt. He's going to force them into Jordan. He's going to force them wherever, but they can't stay there. The United States then is going to come in to Gaza and deal with all of the ammunition that has not exploded or whatever, clean all of that up. And then we'll rebuild. So for Americans, we would probably say, yay, if you're looking for this kind of work. Because you can go over there and do that, I guess. However, Egypt is saying, no, we're not doing that. That's not happening. Jordan is saying, no, that's not happening. And Malaysia is saying they are committed to rebuilding Gaza with the Palestinians there. Egypt is saying that too, that they are going to help rebuild Palestine. Saudi Arabia is saying that as well. There will be no forced relocation. There will be none of that happening for the Palestinian people. They will stay in their homelands. And you think that people would make this I don't know. I think it's just pro-Pally people, like have some sense of rational reasoning that the biggest disruptor of the Middle East is colonization. Colonization like everywhere, has just disrupted everything in the world. Capitalism is disrupting the world. It's stealing resources, stealing land, enslaving people, doing all of that. So America, we say no more slaves, but we still have them, and we utilize slavery in these colonized places. And so what's going to happen in Gaza? Like are the Blackstone and all of these rich billionaire people, are they going to be the ones that are going to come on and look to make the profit? Because we know that's what happens, right? The destabilization of the Middle East. Last week we talked a lot about almost the whole show we talked about the shock doctrine. And so when we're doing these shock and awe measures, like it's that place of making us feel uneasy, uncomfortable. It's a psychological tactic. We feel that like in when they come to interrogate you, right? They always say like they get the light, they put it in on your face. They make your chair wobbly, so like you're kind of feeling like that. The way they ask questions, and then the way they interpret your answers, all of these things is a psychological process. It's psychological warfare, kind of. Like the goal is to make us feel less than insecure. And so then we start worrying. We start worrying about things and we start settling. This is the best we're going to get. So this is what we need to take from this. And so it's really important, like, to have an understanding of what is happening. And so I think in the Middle East, the countries there are kind of in this, yeah, we're not going to do that. And that's not going to happen. And there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff. So I've talked on Toksa Hour many times about BRICS. And BRICS is Brazil, Russia, I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna look real quick here what BRICS stand, what the countries are. I can't remember what the I is. It India? Okay, what does BRICS? Brazil, Russia, India, yeah, India, China, and South Africa. So one of the things that's happening is BRICS is changing the whole, you know, how America had the petrodollar. Everybody was invested in the petrodollar. BRICS is undermining that, and everything's going back to like silver and gold. And so there's a big panic about silver and gold right now. Like, I just was reading up on some stuff about Great Britain. The UK is, the people there are upset because supposedly the UK removed all of their gold and they put it in New York. And there used to be a lot of gold, but now they're only like, they're claiming less. And so where did all that gold come from? Australia put all of their gold in the UK. And so the UK is supposed to have their gold. And now the gold is gone. So there's this big panic about gold. Why? Because the dollar is going to die, or it's going to fail or fall, or there's gonna be a disaster that's going to happen. And so BRICS is moving and putting everything back into gold and silver. And so they're telling people, buy silver, go buy silver, because the economy is going to tank. America is going, you know, somebody said, America, where we are viewing the fall of the Roman Empire in modern times 4K. So now there's all of this conversation about minerals. So what did Trump say? He's going after resources, right? He's going after the minerals. And so there's all of this stuff going on in the power, like trying to maintain the oil, trying to maintain these things. And the United States is not able to do it. And the way they've been positioning themselves in the world, and it's all over Israel. I can't believe that. All of this is over Israel. I can't believe that every US senator, every House representative, probably except for Tlaib Rashad, is going down, like taking all the AIPAC money and doing all of this, and then spending all of our tax dollars to fund Israel. And people are saying it isn't working. It isn't working what we're doing and what we're saying. Like, we're doing the boycotts and it's not working. The boycotts are working. Like, the economy of Israel is failing. It is in massive decline. The Israeli people have left. I think it's like over half, or very close to half, the Israeli people have left Israel and returned back to either New York, Poland, Russia, wherever. But they went away. Their economy is tanking. They don't have doctors. I mean, they do, but not enough for the things that they need to maintain in their country. And so right now, Israel is just rapidly dependent upon American dollars, our tax dollars. That's what's funding them. That's what's keeping them, uh, afloat, is the American tax dollar. People don't, it's just like, it's not working. It is working. It is working. And what's going to end up happening is our government is probably going to go bankrupt because of this blind faith and oath and manipulation that is occurring from Israel. There's some polls that have gone around, like, um, um, what is it like? It's who controls United States? Israel, and then who controls Israel? Is it America? Anyways, it was something like that, and I can't remember the exact language, but that's what it's talking about. Like, um, Trump might think America rules Israel, but Netanyahu is saying, I don't think so. We control you. And I've listened to military experts, that were intelligence, NSA intelligence. I've listened to these people talk about this and how they have they're protesting for Palestine because of what's happening. And they say that that's one of the very first things they tell them is that the Mossad agents, which are like the equivalent of the CIA of America, the Mossad is Israel. They are everywhere, spying everywhere. And so you have to be careful. So that's why we see Meta just came out, or there's a whistleblower in Meta that came out and told how the directives were given to silence the voice of pro-Pali people and Palestinian people. So the news, like on Instagram, how that was, they manipulated the algorithm so nobody would see it. Then they would also go through and intentionally block and ban people for posting pro-Pali content. Their heavy influx to prevent awareness for people. And so this is like a big, massive scale of bullshit that we are faced with in America. And everybody outside is saying, hey, like you guys. So that's really crazy. Netanyahu came this past week, and February 5th, I think, is when he was in Washington, D.C., met with Trump, made some agreements. And that's when Trump comes out with this, Gaza is, America or whatever. And in Israel, they're all like, yay, yes, 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 yes. And so I think about that, like, are they really cognizant of that? Or is this just that Israel knows that they are the puppet master of the United States? Or is the United States the puppet master and gonna take Israel? And this is their foot in the door. So they think. You take Israel and you take the rest of the Middle East. It's really interesting, but right now the United States does not have the money to fund such a thing. We're broke. So and then, he goes to do the tariffs, all of this stuff. It's crazy, crazy business. So, Netanyahu comes to visit the White House, and I was watching some TikTok lives. I watch Eric Warsaw quite a bit, and he had this conversation about the psychology of colors and clothing. And so he had this picture of Trump and Netanyahu. Let me see if I could pull it up. Let's see. I'm gonna do an image. These are all old pictures. So I'm trying to find a current one. Um, but there's a picture, and Trump is um he's sitting like there's Netanyahu and then there's Trump. And Trump has his hands like this, he's making that symbol, but he's really like submissive in how he's sitting. And Netanyahu is sitting like in this power position, and the color that he has, he's wearing like this black suit. And in psychology and in color, the psyche of color, they talk about black. When people wear black, they usually use it to demonstrate or illustrate power. And then, so there was Netanyahu, he was wearing black. His suit was black. And then there was Trump, and he was wearing a blue suit. And so in psychology, they say that blue is kind of like a calm color. You might wear it to try to signify, like tranquility. And it's also like to say you can depend on us. You can depend on me. So dependency. And so there was this analysis of like that, the color. So Trump demonstrating to the world, to AIPAC or to whoever, that Netanyahu was the power in that conversation. And he was there to be submissive and be a good supporter.
See you always off.
Oh, can you have Justin turn it on?
He's sleepy.
Yeah.
Put out.
Yeah, I will in a little bit.
Okay. Can you give me Sylvia?
Yes.
Okay. Open them out.
Okay.
Give me Sylvia. Open them out.
Okay.
What?
Anyway, so there's this psyche conversation that's going on about black and blue, and how that what that's telling the world. And so that was a very, very interesting conversation that I listened to, thought about. And then in that evening there was a picture of um um Elon Musk and Netanyahu and his son. And Elon Musk, they're all wearing like joggers or casual wear, but Elon Musk is all in black. And then you have, I think Netanyahu is wearing a blue jogging suit, and his son was wearing like a gray casual wear. And so I thought, like, what does that say? Like, is Netanyahu saying, yeah, Elon Musk is the one. He's the most powerful. So everybody's trying to be catered to him or by him, Elon Musk. I was laughing. There was I don't know if I said this last week, there's this campaign that happened where people were calling the ICE, their hotline, to report illegal immigrants, and they were all reporting Elon Musk. And it was so funny. I listened to this guy, he's like, I don't know, I don't really know how to say his name. I don't know if I'm saying this right. But his name is Elon Musk. Elon Musk. His saying just made me laugh. It's like that. People could be so funny. And so when we think about Elon Musk and his whole what he's doing in the world, right? Like he's the richest man in the world. And um how he is playing. So in um Spain, I think it is. Spain has issued um a statement, and I don't know if they're gonna file charges against him, but he is interfering in their government. And so their government officials come out and they're in their election, all of that, and he's because he's pumping a lot of money into it. Germany is starting to say the same. And so Elon Musk is going to rule the world, because he's got all the money and he can foot the bill for this stuff. He's billions and he's a trillionaire, I think, or darn near close to being a trillionaire. And so he's mad at Canada because Canada, I believe, is putting a 100% tariff on Tesla. There, Trump came out with his tariff, and I believe we talked about this last week. He came out with his tariff, and they just undid him. Like he's like, "Oh, this is what we're going to do," and it's so crazy because his supporters, Trump supporters, really believe that this is what he's doing, and he is powerful, and he is getting things done when he didn't get anything done. It's all what was agreed upon with Biden. Trump actually got punked out. Why? Because Canada and Mexico both said, we're not going to tariff everybody in the United States. We're going to tariff the red states. We're going to tariff the states that support you. And they have their list of things that they're going to do. So it's all real interesting about how they're maneuvering around these things and dealing with the crisis. And then what happened this week was Canada and Mexico both entered a free trade agreement with China. And China has built a new port at Mexico, so the Panama Canal is not even an issue anymore. They will just go right there to Mexico and transport across Mexico from that place. So all the cards that Trump thought he was holding, I think these other countries are just calling him on his cards, and he doesn't have a hand. He doesn't have anything. I don't even know if he has a pair. So he's getting his worldly hands handed to him because he is to us, because of how he is behaving, the shock and awe, all of that stuff that's happening is how would you say, is that's what we're feeling. The rest of the world is like, oh, okay. So I'm gonna play first. I'm gonna start with Candace. Over here. I wanted to start with Candace. Candace Owens. And so this is my TikTok account. So I think I need to make sure that my sound is good.
Trump really shocking the world and saying that the USA is just going to take over the Gaza Strip. We're just now getting to the point which is an ethnic cleansing is going to take place. And now we're going to try to emotionally engineer the public to think that it's acceptable by saying, well, there's nothing left. Our bombs bombed it all. Why would they want to stay home? Because they recognize where they are. So if you're going to build it big, if you're going to make it beautiful, Trump, let them stay there while you do it. I'm sure they would be very happy to do that. What has happened to the children and the women of Palestine is a perfect act of evil, and I will not support it. I don't care which friendships have to burn, which invites I won't get, okay? I will not support it because I am a Christian and I am not one that can be maneuvered by money. I will never bend the knee to evil. Trump really shocking the world and saying that the USA is just going to take over the Gaza Strip. We're just
so we have Trump, that's her, and Candace Owens, like she gets a lot of flack from her own community of people because she is a um she's African American and she is a far right or whatever. She's a GOP. And so here she is, and she's usually, kind of defends some of the things that Trump does. So this is another one I wanted to show you. These are all my videos that I repost and share. So here's one. I don't know if you guys ever seen this one.
Where it's an American representing a foreign country. Yes. Let's look and see if you're getting any money from that foreign country. Are you a dual citizen with that foreign country? Are you being directed by, for instance, is Netanyahu speaking to your group, advising you on your next move? We just want to check where your money's coming from. Tell us where it's coming from, what you're spending it on, and if you are lobbying on behalf of a foreign country. Has the congressman been to Israel? They pay for trips for congressmen and their spouses to go to Israel. And I have Republicans who come to me and say, that's wrong what AIPAC is doing to you. Let me talk to my AIPAC person. By the way, everybody but me has an AIPAC person.
What does that mean, an AIPAC person?
It's like your babysitter, your AIPAC babysitter, who is always talking to you for AIPAC. When they come to DC, you go have lunch with them. And they've got your cell number, and you have conversations with them. So I've had,
That's absolutely crazy.
I've had 4 members of Congress say, I'll talk to my AIPAC person.
Why have I never heard this before?
It doesn't benefit anybody. Why would they want to tell their constituents that they've basically got a buddy system with somebody who's representing a foreign country?
So there's that one. Thomas Massey, he was reelected to the House, and he was actually like a selection at first for Trump's administration, and then he is not. He's still in the House. Here's this guy. He's making a very biblical statement here.
The irony is that an empire like the United States, tumbling over what they did to a small place like Gaza in Palestine, is probably the most David and Goliath story in recent history. And that's ironic if you know why.
He's talking
the irony
about how if it's true, like Trump, we're the most powerful, we're the ones. So it wasn't Israel that lost to the Palestinians on the Gaza Strip. It was the Americans because we paid for it. And this here, because I'm going to want to take this conversation here.
We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant or a dictator. And we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator. We don't take an oath to an individual. We take an oath to the Constitution, and we take an oath to the idea that it's America, and we're willing to die to protect it. Every soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, Guardian, and Coast Guardsman, each of us commits our very life to protect and defend that document, regardless of personal price. We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant.
Here. So this is going to be our last one that we're going to hear about.
Hello, Americans. My name is Nancy. I'm Canadian, and I'm simply an ordinary Canadian. Thought it would be helpful to hear from an ordinary Canadian. I'm not in the news. I'm not a politician. I'm not even particularly much of an influencer. I'm just an ordinary Canadian. So here are my thoughts on what's going on that we're all hearing a lot about that I thought I would share with you. Number one, you need to know, and no offense, but we don't want to become the 51st state, at all. In fact, there's a recent poll taken, and about 9, if you picture 10 people in a room, 9 people left the room at the thought of becoming a 51st state. We are different than you guys. You're awesome friends, but we really do have different ways of life, different values, different priorities that make us Canadian and never, ever American, like just never. Secondly, increasingly, we're not believing anymore what your president is saying to you about why he's feeling like he has to take a 2x4 to our heads. So first, some things to know, some stats that's really important for you to know. Fentanyl and illegal crossings from Canada, bullshit. It's from us. We're less than 1% of the problem, like seriously. So yes, we will keep on trying to reduce even the 1%, but we're not your problem when it comes to fentanyl and when it comes to illegal immigration and, or attempted whatever non-immigration into the United States. And same thing with the surplus, the trade surplus. We are not subsidizing you. The fact is you buy more from us than we buy from you. Of course you do. For one thing, you're 10 people to every one of us. And secondly, one of the things that we sell is extremely expensive, and that is crude oil. We have crude oil that you don't have or you don't have easily. You have refineries that we don't have or can't have easily. So for years, like decades, I think, we've sold you 60% of your crude oil, which then gets refined and becomes the fuel for to heat your houses and to put in your cars. And we do give it to you, by the way, at 20% below what we could get if we just sold it on the world market. So we're giving you a deal. So we do not believe that is actually about fentanyl, or it's actually about immigration, or that it's actually about trade, the trade deficit. We just don't believe that. So what do we believe? Well, this is the third thing you should know. Increasingly, we are starting to believe that it's because your president wants to take Canada over. He wants things that we have that you don't. So you need to decide how you feel about that. If you voted for Trump, did you vote to go to war, like actual war with Canada? Trade war is one thing, it will be serious, but if it came to it, there would be actual war. So think about that a little bit. I hope you don't want it. You can imagine we don't want it, and we will stand up for ourselves. I don't know if we'll win. I don't. It'll be like a epic battle between we're outgunned, we're outnumbered, you have the money, more money than we do, but we will not go down without a fight. And you guys will get hurt too. So why the hell are we even having to talk about this? So you might want to think if that's what you want, and bear in mind that if the tariffs, I'm sure you know this by now, if there's a 25% tariff, well, that means the oil that we sell goes up by 25%. That means you're going to be paying 25% more on your oil and your that heats your homes, and the gas that fuels your cars. Avocados from Mexico, those will go up by 25%. Is that what you voted him in for? If you don't like that idea or these kind of movements of your president, for heaven's sakes, I don't know your political system well enough to tell you exactly who to write to, but reach out to your Congress, your House of Representatives, and just say, that's not what you voted for. One last thing, a lot of people voted for making America great again. And yay, please do become great again. But you need to know this about factories in the 50s. First of all, America was able to be so wildly successful because it was right after World War II, and you guys were the only one with machinery left pretty much in the world and a whole wide open market to sell to. So that's not the case anymore. Lots of places around the world now have, so it won't be the same as it was that time. And furthermore, you know the good wages? That's because unions were a big thing and they got union wages. So make up your own mind if you think that union wages are going to be part of this Make America Great Again movement. Guys, a lot of you did not, or some of you anyways, did not vote for this person. You voted for someone else and you didn't win. And I feel you. Like we're watching from Canada and we're just kind of shaking our heads. But above all, we're kind of shocked and furious, frankly, and it takes a lot to get a Canadian angry. But we're pretty shocked and furious that people who have been our happy neighbors for forever have just turned on us like this. And we'll push back, and we will push back hard if we need to. Anyway, that's not a cheery post, but I did think it might be helpful for Americans in particular to hear from just an ordinary Canadian, nobody particularly special. And I represent a lot of thoughts and common things that we're feeling in Canada. Canadians have never been so united in my whole life. We're together on this thing that what's happening is absolutely not okay. You have to decide for you if it's okay.
So one of the things that is going on is we're not hearing this, and I'm seeing a lot of like everyday Canadian people commenting, posting, sharing, and then even some of the news in Canada that they're getting ready. They're preparing even if it's just an economic or tariff war, trade war, they are preparing for war. They even have people enlisting, doing all of these things because they believe, and Trudeau was overheard on a hot mic, they say, where he's saying that Trump is serious. Trump is serious about this. He's after our resources. And so there's so many, I mean, the Canadians are uniting and they're mad. And so we have like the what are they called? Like they're not prime ministers, but the leader, like the governor or whatever they're called in Ottawa, talking about like these are the things that we're doing. And they're even threatening to shut off the electricity. And that electricity is connected to like Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, whatever's up there on that Canadian line. There's just like a lot of stuff, like people are not buying anything American made and they're sending it back. And so there's like a lot of contempt going on right now in Canada. And what are we doing? We're just sitting over here saying, do, 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 thinking Trump is great. And his supporters, like I was at Goodwill and I was listening to these. Didn't intend to be listening to them, but I was looking at some items on a shelf. And these two old MAGA guys, they're all like talking about, oh, Elon Musk is doing a good job in getting out corruption. His people that he's brought in there to steal our data are 19 to 24 years old. He didn't bring accountants. He didn't bring anybody like that. Even he didn't bring legalese people. He didn't. So it's these 19 to 24-year-olds are even making some of these people, federal employees, come before these 19 to 24-year-olds and justify why they need to stay on. It's crazy. But there are people that think this is great. This is the thing that we need to do. Everything is great. Everything is good. And so it's just kind of a really unfortunate thing right now. And if we don't pay attention, like this is going to hurt us. This is going to hurt us. And we're going to be the ones, it's right now, like me, I've made some decisions myself, like I'm watching what I'm purchasing. I'm not purchasing, if I can buy it secondhand, that's what I'm doing now. I already used the No Thanks app, and I kind of like this because it's already ingrained in me. So I already know, like I'm learning what I can purchase. So when I go buy, I just go look for those things and I get them. What brands I can't get. Now I have to move in this way about because of like all of these like Walmart, Sam's Club, Target, many, these big corporations have moved to do away with their DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. And so I have to make a decision about that. So I'm like really looking at it like, well, where can I get my things? And I've been thinking about just going back to COVID era where I just ordered everything online. And so I may stop with Walmart, Sam's Club. If I can become a member of Costco online, I think that's what I'll do is just order from Costco because they'll deliver, send it. And the other thing is there's even a push to boycott meat. And I'm like, what? That one's a little bit too much for me. I don't know if I can do it. But they're saying to boycott beef, pork, and chicken. And if people stop buying them, then it will force them to bring those prices down. I don't know. Like we're in a very crazy time and nobody's really paying attention because we are all in our own selves. We've learned to become selfish and self-centered. And so we don't realize. So our news. So our news is so propagandized that many people just believe what's being told to them on news. And they don't realize that we're in this situation. And so if you know how to can, you should do that. If you can garden, you should do that. If you know how to hunt, you should do that. If you know how to skin, if you know how to butcher, you know how to do those things, you should do that. One of the other things that people are talking about is like going underground. Remember we came from underground? But they're saying that we should start building our shelters underground. And so this is a scary time. A lot of people, like I said, they're just heads are in the clouds. Some of them are really rejoicing because of so much hatred in their heart for others, right? These Christians, they have so much hatred in their heart. And so because of that, they just love the fact they have taken their first 2 days ago, the 6th, I believe it was February 6th, their first shipment of people, of illegal immigrants is what they said, criminals, which they're not. These are just, people who were working, whatever. They're not the criminal ones because those criminals are in prison. But anyways, so they've taken them to Guantanamo Bay. So they're landing them there. And it's really interesting because ICE comes off, all tough and then you see the military people, they're covering their faces. They have their faces covered as they're bringing these people off, but the ICE people are all just, proud. This is what they're doing. And then we have demonstrations going on that are not even being streamed live, nothing. So there's people demonstrating all over the United States. On February 5th, it was 50 states, 50 capitals. So everybody was at their capitals or at their city centers or mayor's offices or whatever, protesting. A lot of protesting was happening on February 5th, but it wasn't even televised. Like not even the news reported about it. And there were a lot of people. Like they raised Cain outside of where Netanyahu was staying. They raised Cain. They made a lot of noise there. A lot of people. But nothing on the news. And so that's one of the our issues is that we don't know. We don't know these things are going on because the news isn't telling us, and that's who we used to rely on to tell us what was happening. And so you don't have that. And so we have to go back to the Moxon Telegraph, right? Like calling each other up and sharing things. But I got off Facebook, so I'm like so done with Facebook. I can't do it anymore. And so I'm just over like TikTok. I started what they call Blue Sky. I created an account there, and then I'm over on the Chinese app, Red Note or the Little Red Book. I'm on that app. And I've been listening just to a lot of different points of view. It's really mind blowing that we're in trouble. We are in trouble. Big, big trouble. But we're not paying attention, and it's just crazy. We're just crazy. Now, the other thing is there is an opportunity. This is coming from the Democrats. There is an opportunity to take the House. And so there are three House seats. This is there's 3 House seats that can be taken, 2 in Florida and 1 in New York. They are Republican positions, but they're going to do everything they can to get support behind these 3 Democratic candidates, because then it puts it in a tie. So there's nobody that breaks the vote in the House. So the vice president doesn't come in like he does in the Senate. They don't do that. So everything will come to a standstill. The Democrats are also talking about shutting the government down, thinking that's a mechanism to stop what Trump is doing. Trump is losing in the court. The federal judge ruled that his birthright executive order was unconstitutional and really scolded him, told him that if he wants to change the Constitution, then he has to go do an amendment. But executive order does not have authority to supersede or overturn an amendment to the Constitution. And he even made this statement, if I can get it right, where he says, even in darkness, and this is a Republican judge. He was appointed by Ronald Reagan, I believe, or he's a Reagan Republican, something like that. And he said, even even in darkness, he will uphold the Constitution. He will be the beacon of light or something like that to uphold the Constitution, that he isn't doing it. So you have some pushback coming from some Republicans. Another ruling that the temporary freeze is kind of put in place where Trump is not able to, he has to give back all of the Treasury information. Again, this is Elon Musk with his 19 to 24-year-olds, that took our information. And there is also people calling to say what we should do is go to the Department of Treasury's page and you scroll down to their privacy policy, and that we all need to get together and we need to sue Elon for stealing our data and our privacy, because they don't have the authority to do that, because Elon Musk is not an employee of the federal government. So he's a third party, and they have a policy that says they will not give our information to third party people. And so there's that. And as I'm getting ready to close, I would just say this other thing about where we are in the standing of where we're standing in at the end of the day, like all of this stuff that's kind of happening to us, that we as people, we have a responsibility to protect our families and to protect each other. And so I think we have to be willing to resist and to see, we have to stand up for ourselves, because if we don't, this is going to get far worse, because they compare him to Hitler, and they say Hitler destroyed Germany, or he dismantled that government in 69 days. And they say that it was the oligarchs that put him into power. And within like 20 days or something like that, he took all the money from the oligarchs. Like he dismantled everything and then he took their money. And so people are saying maybe that's what Trump is going to do is once he's dismantled everything, he'll take Elon's money from him. And so we just have to be cognizant. And we have to look for the news and then we have to share it. If that means that we have to all go back to calling each other to talk about it, that's what we should do because they are all over the internet and they're looking. So even this, I'm so low key, I'm so like not even up there amongst, podcasters and stuff that, my information is probably not anywhere on those magnitudes of these other people, but sharing that stuff out. We just need to be aware and be prepared. So our ancestors have always told us that to be prepared, get prepared, do these things. And so that's what we need to do. It's February 9th. Hey, tomorrow is gonna be my birthday. Anyways, it's February 9th, and we need to like I'm usually already thinking about my garden, getting everything ready for that. So I'm myself and pushing myself to make sure that I'm doing things and that I'm going to have a successful garden. I gotta make sure that all my things are going to grow and we don't have killer hail and stuff. So with that, we are up on our time. I appreciate you guys for watching. Share, subscribe, do all those things, and comment. And hopefully we'll start growing our platform here on YouTube. So thank you and have a good day. Toksa.